Hello, fellow conspiracy theorists across time and space. This is Joseph Armstrong. You guys are actually seeing a little more of me than usual, which is nice. I'm sitting out here in my car waiting for my lunch to cool down, and in the meantime, I thought I'd make a quick video. This video is going to be about how Italy and Egypt are connected. I've been reading a book that's been fascinating. It was written in 1601 by a guy named, I believe it was Richard Lynch, and it's called Historical Treatise on the Travels of Noah into Europe. And it's very interesting. It gives a lot of details. It doesn't contradict the Bible so far as I've seen. It goes based on a lot of ancient Jewish documents, their history books that they made alongside the Bible. Of course, they had the Bible and they regarded it as sacred scripture, and then they had other histories that were written along, the same timeline, and also around the same times. Some of them are actually even mentioned in the Bible if you read it carefully. So in this book, it talks about Ham, one of the sons of Noah. And apparently Ham, according to this history, and you guys can check out the same and similar things in Ken Johnson's book called Ancient Post-Flood History, which I highly recommend. If I remember to, I'll leave it down in the description as a link. You can get it on Amazon or BibleFacts.org. I believe you link through that to Amazon anyways. But Ken Johnson's stuff is absolutely fantastic. This one is a book written that I think he might have referenced. I'm not positive. But if you go to the link, I'll put that in the description as well, so you guys can download this PDF and you guys can follow along. I'm on page 11 right now on section 20. So I'll read it to you guys, and I'll make comments along the way. And it's always been a question in my mind, why Egypt and Italy? And is there some kind of a connection? It's not really something that you think about very long because you just don't have the information, but now with this, I'm just like, wow, they are actually connected that far back. It's pretty fantastic. Because you have the ancient biblical manuscripts being divided into the three families, which, are not exactly the best way of representing these manuscripts, but they use these designations anyways. Antiochian, which would be the Byzantine set of manuscripts, which are more in line with our King James Bible for like the New Testament and things. And then you have the Western. I forget the other names for that one, but I think there's a couple other names for that, which is more based around Italy and other parts of Europe, a very Roman Catholic text. And then there's the Alexandrian out of Egypt. And those ones are going to be less than what our King James Bible is. It's also going to leave out those verses. But that's the really basic, oversimplified explanation is the Western adds and the Alexandrian decreases from the standard of the Byzantine Antiochian Textus Receptus kind of stream. And you wonder why all that corruption is centered around Rome, Italy, and with Roman Catholicism, and what it was during the Middle Ages, and what it was before that under pagan emperors. And then you have Egypt with the Gnostics, and just like the occult focuses on Egypt so heavily. I'm not sure if a lot of it has to do with the Great Pyramid. This is about Ham, which this guy refers to as Shem a lot of the time, or Cham. Here we go. It hath been already specified how Noah, dividing the universal earth unto his children, and how Cham, or Ham, abounding in all vices and detestable courses, and he would have been the father, basically, of the African peoples, I don't know if this is how racism kind of started, with him having a really bad reputation. I don't know. Moving on. Detestable courses notwithstanding, was not deprived his portion, but had his right of inheritance justly allotted unto him, which was the third part of the world, and particularly Africa, to the hither part of Egypt. So that would be, I believe, going up to, like, north toward the top of Egypt. For which countries he was commanded by his father to depart with his wife, as also with all their children in issue, which was accordingly performed, and presently he established himself as king and Saturn of Egypt, where he erected and built a city named Shem, and among them also he himself was called Pan and Silvanus. So you think from your Greek mythology that you learn in school or growing up, Pan was the god of the forest, half man, half goat, and you don't recognize that from cryptozoology, right? So that was a connection there with Ham and wickedness, and a lot of these different people that lived around this time were actually deified later on, and the worship and reverence of them was paganized, and then they developed rituals and all sorts of different things. So a lot of these people, like Jupiter, Saturn, Aphrodite, all these different people were actual people that developed a reputation in their life, and then were later on deified, and that's how you get the names of planets later on. Ken Johnson gets into that a lot in that book I mentioned. To honor and worship him more, and to show their love for him, they lived in all impious and ungracious manner, perpetrating most odious and soul-damning villainies, affirming publicly that men ought lawfully to have company with their own mothers, sisters, and daughters, in all lusts and concupiscence of the flesh, and other many more inhumane and shameful acts, not to be recited. So there's things that he doesn't even want to get into, they were so bad. And of course he was, the grandfather of Nimrod. So that's where occultism and stuff like that, we'll get into that in a second, would have more started. It didn't begin with Nimrod. Of course, it began before the flood with the fallen angels, and then was reinstated, and Nimrod had it at the Tower of Babel, and it just disseminated all over the world after the Tower of Babel incident. But Ham was very heavily involved in witchcraft and magic and stuff like this before. And to show that they gloried and boasted in the wickedness of such their king and ruler, they termed him by name Cam Asinus, or Asinuus, which signified their famous god Pan. And thus he ruled in Egypt long time, even unto the 6th and 50th year of the reign of Jupiter Belus, the second king of Babylon, in which year he began to travel and came into Italy. So Ham, this guy who was ruling in Egypt, because he ruled in Egypt long time, he went to Italy and started messing around with Japheth's inheritance. And I believe he was actually kicked out of there by Noah later on. And came unto Italy, which was then called Kittim, you'll see that in your Bible several times, to his brother Comerus Gallus, the first king of that country, after whose death Cham presently usurped and undertook that mighty government, who instead of virtuous instructions and good laws, in which all other princes round about him, his kinsmen, commanding Germany, Spain, and France, had instructed and taught their people, clean contrary, and this is what Ham did, infected the youth of Italy in all manner of impieties, incivility, and corruptible vices. So, like, the worst things that could happen. He's corrupting the youths, persuading them, being of themselves well addicted, to usury, robbery, murder, poisonings, which a lot of the time bears a connection to abortion. And the study of the magic art, who by reason of his own great skill therein was named Zoroastes. So I'm not sure if that's where Zoroastrianism kind of comes into play. I'll have to research that more. And was the first inventor and practicer of that vile and diabolical learning, of the use of which he composed and writ many books. So he wrote a lot of books on sorcery. And who knows, maybe some of them were burned in Acts. Remember where the sorcerers, they got saved and they burned their magical books and stuff like this. Maybe some of them were written by hand. I don't know. That just makes a lot of things make sense. If you want to go to a spot in the world where, any two places on Earth, after reading that, and there's probably more to come, but Italy and Egypt, where the original post-flood sorcerer reigned for a long time, and where he went to corrupt the youths, and just that's quite a connection, going back that far. So you never think that they're linked that way. You always think that there's some ethereal kind of, mysterious kind of way and that things like this happen, but just seeing something like that is just like, wow, it makes a lot more sense now. So anyways, I'll put the links down in the description of things I've mentioned in this video. Roman Catholicism, also, just as a side note, very heavy Gnostic influence. You guys can check out Ken Johnson's other book called The Gnostic Origins of Roman Catholicism on that one. That one's very good. So yeah, there's links down in the description if you guys want to send us any kind of small one-time donation, if you want to support us monthly, or if you want to pick up some shirts, which I'm still, a lot of them are still in development, but there's some pretty cool ones down there you guys can order. You can get these designs on t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, stuffed bears, all sorts of things. So you guys can check those out. Any little bit does help us. Somebody sent us $5 a little while ago, and it got us, it helped tremendously. And thank you very much, person who sent that. I forget what your name is, but thank you very much for that. And yeah, I guess I'll leave you guys with that. We're working on the first chapter of New Age Bible versions, and there's a lot of other things that I'm going to get started on in the near future. I'm now working here at the Cooperstown Dreams Park again, so it's interesting, and it's going to be a very interesting year. I'm in production for the live streaming end of things, and also right now, pre-season, I'm doing a lot of printing, so it's kind of a dream come true for me, because it's just unbelievable that I'm actually being paid to do these kind of things now instead of just stocking shelves. So it's very nice. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.